Okay, we'll officially start the meeting 1923 now. So you ready, Abby?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're good. All right, we get started. Call meeting to order and establish a quorum with Ken Nicewinder, Jerry Stevens, Abigail Beadle, and myself. And absent is Todd currently. Recognition of citizens. Any other citizens here besides fire department people? Okay. Okay, so reading and approval of minutes for the regular March meeting. I believe Abby sent all the minutes out, and if everybody's had a chance, we entertain a motion to accept them, or if there was any questions or on the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as read, or as printed.
Okay, we have a motion
A second.
and a second to approve the minutes of the regular March meeting. Any question or concerns? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
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 And all opposed? Same sign. Okay. Moving along, treasurer's report. Nancy?
Okay. Let's go turn to the treasurer's report. This is for the 6 months ending March 31st, if you can believe it. As we mentioned last month, our revenue is slowing down. We got a total of about $15,000 in all the M&O revenue with penalty and interest and delinquent, which brought our current up to $430,900. So we only have about $54,000 left to receive in that. A little bit more came in delinquent, and then the penalties are starting now, so we're getting more in penalties each time. So $439,752 is the amount of M&O property tax that came in. Our sales tax that came in this month was $29,000, making $227,700 for the year. All of the expenses were pretty normal. We had another payment which was approved last month for the appraisal district quarterly payment, and our electric bills and things like that. Electric bill was $17.47, which is still a little high. One thing I do want to note is down at the bottom, we paid $24.25 against the repair of the shower. The total amount that we approved was $37.02, so there's still $1,277. But we did find that two things. One, they charged the sales tax, and that was $400. So we take the sales tax off because we said we're tax exempt.
Mm-hmm.
And they also gave us a 10% discount because of being a ESD. So, but it took it on the full amount. We thought we don't need, even if we did pay sales tax, you should take 10% on sales tax too. So that figure will be less that we pay. And y'all can talk about a little bit how that repair is coming. So before everything else, we have $450,535 in the amount of money that we received against the amount of money that we spent. That will be the amount of money that has to carry us through for the rest of the year. On the back is the INS account. Again, we have received a little over $2,700 for this in this month, bringing the total of $81,000 on the current collections against the $91,000. So we have about $10,000 left to be paid, and $83,192 total. And then the payments that are made against the warehouse, no payment. One thing to note, it's kind of nice to see $7,000 is going against the principal now, and it's down to $700 on the interest. So because we paid it down so fast, that interest is finally much less than the $2,000 that we were paying. So we have $36,218 in income over expenses to make the rest of the year, and our budget remaining is $31,000, so we'll be right on target with that. in the bank account is, at American Momentum is nearly 675,000. The money market is still at 106,691, and the total cash in the INS account is 77,000. Again, I did not get the notice yet on the revenue, the sales tax revenue that we got for April, so that's still the amount for that. And our firehouse loan balance is at 274,000, which is a good thing to look at. You can look at the payment of bills. Most of them, they're all the regular bills, but I kind of wanted to wait on approval for those until Todd gets here to make sure that he wants us, if you want to discuss all of the payment at that time.
I have a question. Did you find out about that Republic, why it was 485?
Did I find out?
No, I'm asking you. Right.
You were in charge of that.
I couldn't get that information.
The 485 is the amount that we have to pay this month.
But our contract, I was looking at the contract and it's
It
different.
don't matter. The contract was written, we can go over that later, but the
Yeah.
contract was written in 2019. It's been renewed twice.
Since then?
It's renewed every 3 years. Or it's been
Why
renewed
did
once since then. This is the second.
Yeah.
So if you want to wait.
I'll wait, yeah, we'll wait for that. I was just curious I thought we had like a big fuel charge or something like that we were unsure of.
The amount that's on there now is because, and that's one thing maybe we can discuss, there is an extra charge because, let me read it, what it says. It says, a waste recycling overage. They charge us another $42 because I guess there was too much in the thing or something. Y'all have a lock on that? You're sure nobody's putting their personal stuff in there?
Ma'am, it is not secured, but we can monitor it via the security cameras.
Okay.
But I know that I brought a trailer in here, and I personally took a trailer load of garbage to the dump, and it wasn't put in the dumpster.
To try to alleviate the...
Yes, ma'am, yeah.
That was just what they said. It's a 4 cubic yard thing,
Mhm.
1 lift per week, and it says on 321 that there was an overage.
Do they weigh it, or do they?
It says quantity 1,000, that I don't know what that means.
What day was it?
The March the 21st?
321.
And you say a camera can see that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would have been on a Monday.
But yeah, we started off.
On a Friday. It would have been a Friday.
But if somebody comes on a Saturday night at 1 a.m. and
Right, but
throws trash in there from the back
But
of the
that would
truck,
Yeah, I mean, unless
Things
we
like
monitor
that.
the camera and review it every day.
it wouldn't be y'all's
Yeah.
folks, but it could be...
I mean, of course it could be, but I mean,
The cameras are set up though that we can backtrack and see what happened on those
I
nights.
think it holds it for 30 days, but
Yeah, I just wondered, because I know there's been a couple places that some of the employees were saying, well, we paid for them to pick up this anyway, I'll just put mine in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
I'm
Or
not aware
somebody,
of that happening.
I know when, over at the hospice, they had a lot of problems with people coming in and dumping stuff into their dumpster.
We have the same problem at the golf course. So we've got locks where we can secure it.
Well, we can look at I could get access to the camera.
Well, the thing is, you're saying there was only a $40,
That was just $40.
so that means that the bill is still $440
Yeah,
every month?
but it has been. It has been.
That's what's weird is, well, we'll talk about that part, but that's the part I'm having a problem
2
with.
years ago,
Yeah.
no, 2019, we started with $194 as
Right,
our
I've got that.
amount. And then, every time we renew, it's probably for more money if you don't call them and say, I don't like this price or whatever. They say, well, the rates have gone up.
Sure.
Blah, blah, blah.
But now they're willing to give it to us for $139.
Who is willing?
That's that quote I sent.
Okay.
Yeah, we discussed
We'll
it.
talk about that, but
I
that's
didn't get a
what's,
quote.
Is that Republic?
I didn't get a quote.
yeah, that's
That,
what's.
we discussed it last month.
Yeah.
And I thought we were pretty
And
sure
I
we
didn't
had.
get the quote from you, I just got the original contract.
Oh, there's two pieces to it. So anyway, but
We can
yeah,
bring it
that's where I'm confused about how that, I thought maybe it was maybe 2 months worth or something, but
Sure.
gotcha.
We can bring it up
Yes.
under old business
I think
later.
we've been paying over 400 because it was like at 436 and that's when I said it just keeps going up all the time. And when I call them about it, they said, well, the prices are just going up, you know. Fuel's higher, you know.
Sure.
So yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, here it is right here. Dumpster services are still high. Ken provided a quote from STRD for $159 a month.
STRD, is that Republic?
No, that's,
Did you search or do anything as far as the cancellation?
Yes, that's why when
we can, yeah,
We can
let's
talk
talk
that
about
on that.
that.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I was just confused about the 430 or the 480.
So is there any other questions for the treasurer's report?
I make a motion we accept the treasury report as read.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report and pay the bills?
No,
You
just
wanna wait?
approve the
Don't pay the
treasurer's
bills yet.
report.
No, not pay the bills yet. Okay, so we're just doing the treasurer report.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all in favor? Say
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign. Okay, motion passed. We'll turn over to the Devine Fire Department. First thing on our list is financial report.
Okay, so is our financial report. Most of you briefly just met her, but this is Sophia Benavides, which is our office manager slash bookkeeper slash everything that has to do with our daily operations here in her office. She can do it. So she will be giving you our financial report. It has been working very diligently this past month to get everything squared away.
Bless you.
Thank you.
To the new standard, basically, so we can be able to present to you guys.
Yes, so the first thing that we did was open up an account for strictly just the ESD. The goal with that is going to be to put all funding in there provided by ESD and bring you all the reconciliation report separately from our regular M&O account. The other part that we've been working on is cleaning up our actual accounts. Now, I did get the budget from Ms. Pepper. It is not in alignment with the one that had been input into our QuickBooks. So I do believe that that is why there has been a lot of confusion. There's been a lot of, numbers that are a lot larger in other GLs or expenses versus what was approved. So now with this one in hand, I am gonna be making a lot more comparisons and I'm gonna be getting those cleaned up as well. I do feel that as I've been looking through a lot of our accounts, that the funds hadn't been put in the right buckets. And that's what I'm trying to clean. And it's also showing me that we weren't classifying it correctly whenever it was funding from the ESD. So those are other things that I'm trying to correct. So that's kind of where we're at with it, but our account is doing well. We are getting caught up on a lot of things that were pending, and including the apparatuses and maintenance and making sure that the office supplies are good and what all of the fire department needs. Medical items have been purchased that also need to be replenished. So all of those are doing well. Do y'all have any questions on specifics for me?
What's the balance in the ESD account right now?
So currently, we have not moved over funds. Right now it's at about 8,700, but again, it's because we still had money in our M&O account.
Okay.
So if you want both numbers, it's 8,700 in the ESD, and then in our M&O account, there's 63,000.
Do y'all have
What
a
other-
report? Do y'all have a report that y'all give us to go in our files? Or?
I did offer to give Ms. Pepper the reconciliation, but I believe you,
Yeah, the bank reconciliation, I don't know that we need to see. What I had told her that it would, what we'd like to see is,
an Excel.
an Excel or a profit and loss or whatever that shows this is the money that came in, this is what all it's been spent on. She can do it by the month, or she can do it by the year to date, when she gets all those figures together. But I don't think that, as long as she's reconciling the bank statement, we know it's being reconciled, because that was one thing that wasn't happening.
Well, I think
If you
for
would like to
better,
see
I
it.
believe for better clarification, the month by month is something I would like to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can definitely start getting that together for you all. It was very much a cluster.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not asking for it tomorrow, but
Yeah.
I think
I
we
think by
can,
next meeting.
yeah, by next meeting.
I thought you said by next week.
No pressure.
Yeah, come on, Robert. She's the one that has all the hats, right?
Yes.
Never got him today.
What other funds do you have that comes into the M&O that has nothing to do with the Fire Academy?
That does not have to do with the
Yeah,
fire.
you get grants and things like that for the fire department?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, so we do get grants, and then we also get funding by the city for code enforcement. And I believe that's about it.
Code enforcement, is the grants, and then any donation or fundraising event that goes on, that goes in there. That
Pretty
should
much
be
it, right?
pretty much the bulk of it. Goes into that.
I didn't think there was much other,
No,
things coming in.
no, there's not like 10 other things. I mean, not everything's just being thrown in there. But it's just, right now with the whole new system it's not a new system, we're just trying to clean it up. Trying to clean it up and trying to have it user-friendly and presentable, friendly. And then also trying to find. So we're still trying to find, she explained it earlier to me, was that we have line items that say a certain thing. Then we have another line item that says another thing. And we have another line item that say the same thing. And even for myself that does not know anything about that, I was like, why would we do that? Why wouldn't we just put them all into one line item under a certain title? And then from there, we could pull, if I asked, or if anybody asked, what about this, what about that? You could strictly go in there, and she's like, exactly. So now we're at that point where I need to condense the line items instead of having 12 pages on a report, and a whole page could have been used under one line item, one amount. So that's what she's been very diligently trying to figure out, and then research, and then find the proof and provide it why she's going to do this and do that to them. So it's been a very much so an uphill battle for her on her part to try to get everything squared away and solid. Because one of the things that we had spoken about is like, I do not want to give a false report. If we don't know, we don't know at this point. If we're looking into it, we're looking into it. I said, but the last thing I want to do is come up with a fictitious number, or I think so. We're going to give you a solid number once we can get everything consolidated and put it in the right location.
And when do you assume? Completion, or do you have a completion date that you think? I think I might be able to have it done by.
Shooting for?
I would realistically like to have it in the next 60 to 90 days.
That's what the chief said last meeting.
What we're shooting for.
90 days.
Yeah, because you'll be right on top of the budget by then.
Yes. Also that, but this time, it's gonna get input correctly. So,
But just so y'all realize, you have to give us a budget for us to decide before we can do our budget.
yes, ma'am.
And
that's
our budget
something
has to be finished by no later than August.
And that is something that we're actively working on as a team and getting our numbers put together as far as what is necessity, what our expectations are and things like that. So we've been working together on that for the past couple of weeks.
We'll have a little bit of a clean slate.
Yeah.
The payment goes through, we'll see that go in,
Yes,
and then we'll be able to see all of that.
Yes.
As it goes out, we'll see all those expenses.
exactly.
That's kind of what we're looking for is, we'd love to see all the historical stuff as well, and we've got a lot of irons in the fire on that, but we're really wanting to make sure that going forward, we
Yes.
see the money going in, it's what we approved to go in, and then we're seeing the money going out, and it's all making sense.
Correct, yep, and that's exactly what the goal is with the ESD account being separated.
And if you don't, I think reconciling to the bank accounts, that'll hold you up a lot because you have to wait for the bank accounts to be solid in all of those things. But you're able to provide us the report more quickly and expediently if you don't have to, you're going to have it all reconciled, but not having to wait for that bank statement to be official.
Right, and with that, it's easily exported into an Excel spreadsheet for you all, and it can be categorized into what each thing is.
Is there a second person who also, I know you're going to provide the report to us as soon as you can, but you might have to wait for that bank statement to come through. Is somebody also going to be like that second set of eyes that's going to verify it and whatnot? Just like we have two people sign checks.
Right.
If I were you, I would want somebody to verify it.
Yes, actually, I believe Mr. Henry here's
There
the
you
second
go.
set of eyes.
Perfect.
Just to confirm that everything I'm providing is accurate and correct, and he's gonna make sure it's, that dual control.
Super.
See, from her spending day in, day out, looking at numbers, looking at things, and getting everything squared away, once she gets everything like that, Henry comes in with the first pair of eyes.
Yeah.
That's great.
And
Yeah.
then she does, and says, look, this is what I did, this and this and that. He'll look at it and be like, okay, yes. Okay, now, yeah, it's all aligned. Everything is what we're supposed to be at. Okay, this is what we have to pay. Okay, and then here's the invoice and here's that.
Well, we get so much more detail whenever you report to us than if we were to look at bank statements. Whenever I worked with boosters and PTOs for the school district, we did have them turn in the bank statement along with, and it was so frustrating because it was a whole month. And then, so I think it's a lot better this way as long as you have a second set of eyes on it as well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Have you had any luck putting the line items together for the ESD for the budget?
Those are already in
We
there.
kind of talked about it a little
Right.
bit, but were there things that we found that should be in there, but they weren't, or weren't in there and shouldn't be? Did you?
Yes, so a lot of that was not classified correctly. A lot of the funds that had been pulled from it, it wasn't classified accurately. And that could have just been, not knowing to classify it under ESD or choose that exact line item. But that's part of what I'm Nice and tedious.
Super detailed.
Yeah. I don't, yeah.
You can come help. Right?
You're looking at those line items and you're like, does this need to be one line item for this much, or does it need to be one line item for all 10 of these lines?
Exactly. Exactly. It's fun when you expand it and you're all, nope, I didn't want to do that.
And you might be able to, that budget might help you because then you can categorize
Yes.
things under those budget.
That might-
Yeah,
Exactly.
match up the budget to the other.
Exactly. So that's going to help me a whole lot.
Yeah, that's good.
Glad I have it.
Yes, me too.
So we'll continue with y'all's efforts and hopefully we'll keep getting better reports and keep cleaning it up. I know like they're talking about, we need to keep going forward with everything now, and we have to go back and catch up on all the other stuff, but we can't let now slip from what we've got going now.
Exactly.
So, any other comments on the financial side? about run report and all that?
Yes, Mr. Vice President. For the month, or this past month, we've had 101 calls from 18 March to 15 April, bringing our total to 399 for fiscal year. This past month, we had 40 EMS, excluding vehicle accident with injuries, 3 building fires, 3 brush and grass mixture fires, 3 grass fires, 3 outside rubbish fires, 2 other fires, 2 outside rubbish, trash, or waste fires, 2 rescues with EMS incidents, 2 medical assist other agency EMS crews, fires and structures other than a building, we had 1, cooking fire confined to a container, we had 1, passenger vehicle fire, we had 1, other EMS, we had 1, MBC with accidents and injuries, we had 1, gas leak, we had 1, arcing or shorted electrical equipment, we had 1, unauthorized burning, we had 1, dispatch and canceled en route, we had 1, dispatch and canceled on scene, we had 1, and then unable to locate or no incident found on arrival to dispatch address once, and 1 alarm system activation, sir, with no fire, and it was unintentional, sir.
What did you guys do with the rest of your time?
We fight fires and save
Is that
lives.
the longest one that you've had? I mean,
What's that, sir?
is that just more accurate than what you normally gave before?
Yes, sir,
Itemized.
it's been much more detailed.
Yes.
And broken down.
Yeah.
That was in between us trying to get the budget straight.
Can we get copies
Of course, sir.
of those?
Yeah.
I'd like to have that, so I'm trying to.
Yeah,
Huh?
actually,
don't know if
from
he said
last
over
night,
the north.
that are clean.
He said 101. I
We
don't
did
understand
get
where the rest
the
are.
minutes from last
We
night.
got the
did?
minutes.
Huh?
Yeah, Abby's
Yeah,
got
Abby sent us
Is
a copy.
that, oh, that's in the.
I forwarded those
that's in
y'all
there? Okay.
secretary. He turned them around to us this morning.
Yes, he
Unbelievable.
did.
That,
Matt
Yeah.
Matt
That is
sent it right
great.
away.
He's awesome.
Yeah, it should be.
that is great.
Okay.
And
So you
it's
said
on-
you-
It is on there.
So you said you had 101 calls?
From 18 March to 15 April, yes, sir.
Okay. I'm
And
just,
399 from 1 October.
right, I'm just,
Right down the street.
Oh, he's
Try-
trying to reconcile the screenshot numbers.
well, yeah, I'm trying to reconcile your quantities here
And,
on your,
The minutes.
the minutes.
Figures.
there's a fire.
The 101 doesn't match what you have here.
It was my neighbor trying to burn some.
Maybe more up to date.
brush in the tree.
I pulled this out of the red book as of today. So
that
I'm
for
not
the
sure
year?
Yeah, for the year. for
Oh,
October.
that's why. This must be just for the month.
This is just for the month.
Okay.
And then I pulled out
Oh,
from,
here.
this was from 1 March, 1 through 31
1
March.
March.
I pulled from y'all's last ESD meeting to
Okay.
this ESD meeting.
Oh, okay.
So it covers the month that we
Right.
just went through.
So we-
Okay.
But when we pull our reports for the fire department, it's from the previous month. If I thought it would be more accurate, so you get a snapshot of the last 30 days that we provided your services for.
So for the month of March, you had 72 calls?
1 through 31 March, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And now it's grass fire season, for some reason, everybody who's had these,
Hey, it rained a little bit so you can burn.
that's what we hear, sir. I'd like to brush.
Even though there's a
Great
ban.
in Hondo, we can burn it.
Yes.
The pile's been there for 4 months.
Yeah.
I just, after we extinguished it, we to let them know that we're still under a burn ban, and could we please let the grass at least green up? The fuel loads are still there, but it's not always received very well. But it did rain, I'm like, correct, we got 2 inches, and we're still in.
And it's still-
Some of
drought
us
conditions.
didn't get that.
Well, we keep getting those warnings on our phone that we're in red warning and.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and some folks just say we don't know, and I'm like, well, it's in every county that you drive by, and that you enter, it's burn ban, and in fact, it's a hot topic on every local TV show.
Just have to call.
And they say, well, I stream my news, and I'm like, well, I can't fix everything for you.
Yeah, I know, right?
If
I'm
you
sure you
don't,
can find it if you really want.
if you don't want to know, you're not gonna know. So that's what I have for our run report. And we expect to continue. We're in extreme drought right now, explosive fire growth. There was one night last week where we had 2 criminal burns go on at almost toned out 5 minutes apart. One off 663 and the other one off 7711. 3 huge brush piles started almost at the identical time.
Yeah, they were minutes apart. Actually, I thought it was just an update, the first one. But they were like,
Two separate. Wow.
Two separate.
Very good.
Okay. Questions on that? Good, Jerry? Okay, so the next is the requested reports, the ones on the maintenance.
Yes.
You want to see it?
Binder as requested.
Excellent.
We went back as far as we could, 3 years. On each apparatus has been separated out as close as we could get it. Multiple copies of similar documents are in there. It's just because when we go to and order from Napa or O'Reilly's, we will get parts for different apparatus. So we separated them out. I know Ken had requested pictures for them. We're still working on getting update pictures, but breaking them all out.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it's per apparatus and then per our major parts companies, one being Napa is our go-to. They're leasing out our old building. They give us about a 50% discount. But sometimes they are closed on Sunday.
Yeah.
Or they don't have the parts and we have to go to either O'Reilly's or in some situations we had to order a radiator in for our heavy rescue from Ford Motor Company. It's too old and they just don't make them anymore.
Is that 3 years worth right there?
It's coming up on it, yes, sir. And then there's individual by apparatus, and then I think the receipts are broken down by fiscal year.
Okay, what about the building stuff? Do y'all have anything like the generator? Do y'all check that occasionally?
Yes, sir. It's run.
in there too?
It's run. No, as far
That's
as
just for
the
vehicles, right?
expense,
That's
this is just for our apparatus. And now as far as our cascade systems and our BA systems, we have those checked, but I didn't provide those financial documents. I thought we were
I
just
know we were
focusing
just
on-
talking about maintenance on the trucks.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
going to come up later on down the line, of once we're doing that, we need to do the maintenance of the building too, like oil check on the generator.
Oh, we do.
stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
I believe we
And-
just came to do that too.
And that's where they found that the block heater was,
Yeah, it was
but
bad.
that
Right.
goes to the ESD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we
as far-
just know that's things that y'all are supposed to be watching during the time, is making sure that, that there's oil in it and there's fuel in
Yes,
it
sir.
and all
Yes,
that
sir.
good stuff.
Yeah, and it runs,
Because we don't see it.
I was talking to Ms. Pepper, it runs, scheduled to run once a month.
Actually
and-
starts once a week. On
Okay.
Friday night, it starts about midnight, I think, and it runs for an hour. And then once a month, it actually transfers over. Once a month, you'll see it transfer.
Okay.
When they set it up, I know that's what they set it up as. Once a week on Friday night, it runs. That's why I'm saying we need to watch the fuel, because if we don't watch it, it doesn't have anything except a low alarm, but it's too late to get a low alarm.
I just checked the fuel in it when we ordered the fuel for our
Right, to make sure
station.
we get
It was
the
at
same
80, I want to say 82 or 86%.
Yeah, I just want to make sure our building stuff is protected as well.
Yes, sir.
And that it's being checked as well.
Yes.
There's some kind of log or something?
Yeah. I mean, there's a log in the system. It'll tell it whenever the oil was changed or whatever in the generator. It'll actually show some of that, but just the normal, I'd hate to, we pay all that for the generator and then it goes, we have an emergency and the power's lost. Oh, well, we didn't fill it up for the last 6 months. Well, that's why it's probably running out of fuel. So we just want to
A
make sure
routine
that's checked.
checklist, a quarterly checklist or something? Not just for that, but for the whole building?
Yes, something for the whole building wise. Like you said, the cascade system, y'all do a check on that.
Yes.
Anything y'all check, I think we should, we need to, just in case something goes wrong, we have something to back up and say, well, it wasn't human error, it was a fault of the equipment instead of
There was
us
no
not
neglect. There was no neglect to it.
Yeah, it was something
Right.
happened.
And now our cascade system gets air sampling done once a quarter. And so
Yeah,
we-
and that's for, I mean, yeah, that's fine, that we ought to have anything that y'all do a report on, we ought to see that, just to make sure that we're just protecting everybody, that it's not a neglection.
But you want to see the pump, because we have all the pump test data on our engines and hose testing and all that as well. We have records of
I
all
think
that.
we all should see that just in a file, just to make sure that we have that.
Okay.
Because in case that ever comes up, we have something to back up to do.
So these are just repairs or yearlies that are being done on the apparatuses, is that
Yes.
correct? So are y'all doing dailies as well?
Every shift, there's a image trend checklist where it goes with all the equipment that's on it, the oils, the fluids, but we don't get into checking belt tensions and.
Yeah, I know, it's just
Just general
a,
stuff.
Yeah,
it's just a normal PM that you should be doing on a regular basis, like,
it's done every 48 hours, sir.
okay. And we're retaining that
It's
information?
electronically and updated in image trend.
If that's something we really want, it sounds to me like it's something that we could ask you guys to be able to say like, hey, this is what we need to have on paper that we're kind of checking maintenance on. And then these are the things where we can pull reports so that,
We used to do it on paper, and then when we went to electronic, we went to Emmett Strand, and it's now all done.
oh, you have it all electronic.
Yes, ma'am. It's all on these small little, Kevin, you wanna?
Yeah, it has a print button for every report too.
Okay.
You can report.
So even something like we checked to make sure that there was gas and it was at 85% gets logged into this system?
Well, the generator doesn't.
Right.
The apparatus.
Yeah, but if we wanted to, if I wanted to pull reports on the daily, the whatever shift from 2 weeks ago, you could pull that information and we could go through and just to do a spot check that
Sure.
we would, you know, one of us could verify that,
And then,
not that we don't trust you, it's just that we're checking our equipment.
Checks and balances.
Checks and balances, you know what I mean?
as each shift checks it, I get an email that says the apparatus check sheet has been
Good.
done. I can review it, but my crews know what they do. And then if they see something, I mean, the fuel gauge is a site gauge, so we don't, after every call, we don't return to station without topping off. Unfortunately, we got our diesels right here. The only apparatus we have to get gasoline for is the Command FR, one of our brush trucks.
I think from my standpoint, looking at it, is just making sure that if there was something wrong, that, you know, the crew, whatever shift they're on, is they're identifying it, so that way you know about it, or chief knows, somebody knows that, hey, we've got something
Yes, sir.
going on wrong with something. We're not just coming back and parking it and not
Yes, sir.
addressing it.
Yes, sir.
It's not something that's falling through the cracks, you know?
And actually, at every shift change, there's a handover from what happened on A shift. When our shift changed at 9 o'clock, every 48 hours, they do a handover to B shift. And B shift does a handover to C shift. And then as far as the 48-hour checks on our apparatus, that's every shift, and they do our VAs every day. And that's in accordance with NFPA standards.
Good.
I feel like it's pretty thoroughly covered.
Well, man, we're doing our best. And I will say that,
That part's been going all along anyway.
Yes.
That portion of it's been going along.
yes, sir.
the whole time.
Yes, sir. And we now have Dalen Idams. He's an ASE certified diesel and automotive mechanic. I took him up to Dallas-Fort Worth with me to the National EVT Conference to get his initial EVT certifications. And he's going to be going up to College Station with us for his F3 examination for fire apparatus and pumps. So he's pretty much done a complete rebuild on chassis, on Command, on FR 8120, and radiator explosion on Rescue 8120, but it was 18 years old. Parts fail.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah, and so I have him, he's developed a wonderful platform as far as maintaining our apparatus going forward. We're getting everything, all the kinks worked out. We get our heavy use equipment, the Command and FR done initially. Then it would be FA, or one of our brush truck 8120s. This bumper to bumper, and then we're going to be going month to month as money comes in. So that he goes bumper to bumper on every apparatus, at least every 6 months. And then he's going to continue with his EVTs, emergency vehicle technician training. So we have a trained EVT on call. And he responds to when we have roadside accidents, well, not accidents, but incidents. The radiator exploded on the side of the road. Instead of getting it towed in, I was able to call him. He went out to the location, made the repair on the scene, and we were able to pull it back in. He came in, looks up at his computers, does a hot check on it, and we're good to go.
Great.
So we're making, I will be the first to admit, I've been pro maintenance for, I've been requesting maintenance for almost 5 years that I've been here. And so we're certainly going to satisfy the ESD board's request for maintaining all of our apparatus.
Good.
Thank you.
So to see too, Brian pulled it up on the reports.
You want to just...
This is what the shifts will do.
So
You pick whatever apparatus you're
we'll do
going to.
the engine. So you can just go down the list. Tires in good condition. We'll inspect them, yes or no. Basically, like one of those the text dot.
Yeah. Okay, great.
For our
And it just
air packs.
saves all that information.
Yep. If I go back here. So once they're submitted, they lock for approval. And like it'll have the date, time,
Okay.
when it was submitted.
Great. Great.
So, and we're only going to be improving our maintenance, and we have a plan going forward.
Excellent. Again, bad things, great things going on, so there you go. And I think that's what's.
Yeah, I think some of that is beneficial only because we start to see, we see we have the records for the months we're paying on it, then at some point, then maybe the conversation becomes where maybe we need to start looking to upgrade something.
Yes, sir, we should.
Just saying. But the information is beneficial,
Yes,
all
sir.
of that.
Yes, sir.
Everything, 100%, so.
And this is just our first stab at it.
Yeah.
We're going to get better.
No,
We're going to document it more.
that's what it's all about, is being better tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on the truck maintenance?
No, not right now.
Excellent, we appreciate it.
I think
Very good.
we've already
You guys have done
covered.
a lot of work. There's a lot of work to turn things around.
I appreciate that, sir.
Absolutely.
We're certainly doing our best.
Absolutely.
Okay, the next one is report regarding review of recent terminations, which I have.
Oh, well, yeah, we already did.
That was in the minutes too. Terminations that they've had recently.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
So on the report regarding the recent terminations from last meeting, we briefly spoke about that, about how there could be possibilities and assumptions of people being forced out or just leaving in bad terms or being other victims out there. And so what I did was with our board, we came together and we established a committee, which is now going to be our members committee. So our members committee will be handling all at this point, they have already met once. Our members committee has met once. It's strictly volunteers, and it is non-firefighter in this committee. So these three individuals will be going through all our old rosters and for 2 years back. So we're going to go as far as 2 years back and go through all our rosters, get all the names that were ever on our rosters. And then what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to make contact with everybody that's no longer on our present roster. And just to check on them, see how they're doing, how everything's going for them, and to try to build a rapport with them over the phone as quickly as possible, and then to see why they might have left us or why they decided fire wasn't for them. And it could be as simple as I moved away. It could be as simple as it wasn't for me. I can hang with the training or whatever it may be. But they're going to be making all the notes on that. The 2-year mark is going to be a lot, because I've been here almost 3 years and I've seen a lot of people come and go. On the most recent, I did put my eyes on the files of the last 2 most recent termination ones. One was he voluntarily surrendered his position. I read through the notes and everything else like that. Great exit interview. No saltiness, nothing in there. It was just moving on, basically. On the other one was a termination that led up to a termination. And in that file, they did have the proper documentation. Everything that the investigative work that was done on both sides of person and victim. the accuser that was put in there. And then, of course, the hand down of the punishments each time, and which led to the very last one where it was a separation from us. So those are the last two most recent that I have seen. And then at that point, the committee is now going to be, like I said, the members committee will be taken over. They'll be able to handle our, once they get everything situated and the flow going and get back that information back to me, then what they'll be enacted to do will be to follow the hours, the volunteer hours. So then they'll be able to give, they won't just do an assignment. We're going to keep them on to follow the firefighters throughout from here on out. And we're only going to progress with that. So then that every month, when we do a report to drop somebody or not to drop, or somebody's going to leave with absence, it'll be the members committee that will be giving us those reports saying, well, you know, this person no longer wants to be with us, or life happens and is no longer able to meet the hours and has resigned from their position. So we'll drop them from our roster at that point on our meetings. So that is where we're at on that. That will take a little bit of time.
Those volunteer hours are getting logged into image trend with current members. Can't say for past members, but proactively inputting volunteers' hours in image trend. There's a lot of, just like the truck check,
Yes.
we'll have a record of it.
Good,
Yes.
good. So how does it, who is the final say-so as far as termination goes when it comes through? Does that come to the board, or is it the chief and the assistant?
Yes, it is up to the two tops,
Okay.
which is the chief and assistant chief, which hand down accordingly a punishment. They're in the loop. They're always in the loop. I just spoke about this at my meeting yesterday with the chain of command. Now that we have 4 lieutenants and a captain and an assistant chief and a chief, I basically said, you know, if you're a firefighter, you need to go to your lieutenant. Your lieutenant needs to learn how to grow in leadership by having that first interaction with you. From there, if they can't answer it, they'll find the answer to their captain. Everything should stop at the captain level on operations. A chief should never have to answer a question, hey, I need a new pair of boots, or hey, can I go to this training, or hey, guess what, this happened. Because, and what I explained to our members yesterday was, these guys, as you can see, we're trying to get everything back in line. So they're midway through an email or midway through a curriculum to try to put it together, and then all of a sudden, hey, my boots are squeaking. I need new pair of boots. And of course, so these guys will be like, hold on, let's go. They'll take care of them.
Yeah.
But it also takes away from their important duties, and then all of a sudden they're here till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night trying to finish up that email.
Sure.
Get their thought process back into that. Or coming in on the weekends and they're like, man, I gotta get this done because I gotta present it tomorrow to the city. I gotta present this to the board. So I tried to take away a little bit of the burden from the chiefs to start with the chain of command. So with that question, now it's going to be if there is something going on the floor, there's something going on in the house, it's going to be up to the lieutenants to say, hey, we can't do that, you can't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Then from there, if there's going to be a process on it, then the lieutenant has to take it to the captain. The captain has to sign off, okay, make sure that this, that. Here, of course, hear both sides of the story.
Yep.
He said, she said. Then from there it goes to the assistant chief, and of course, the assistant chief has to brief in the chief, this is what's going on, if it's that bad.
Absolutely.
But it should stop at the captain level. It should never go any further. Now, if there is termination, all our members have the option of a hearing, which comes before the board. So they have the last ditch effort of keeping their spot here or their employment here by presenting it to the board, where we will make the final decision. But we hear everything. It's almost like going to court at that point,
Yeah.
or a committee. We will hear everything presented to us, of course, from the chief, and then from the subject. They bring it to us, say, look, this, I feel unjust, or no, here's the paperwork that follows why we handed this down. That is our process.
That's great to hear. It also gives them opportunities, like you said, gives the younger ones the leadership role, but also gives opportunities to correct. Hopefully they correct whatever the issues are before it gets to that level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there's many steps before it gets to a white helmet.
Absolutely.
It's a normal problem to have when your whole chain of command just moved up one.
Yes, and so that was my
So
thing
figuring out where the new
when I
boundary-
explained it to the members, I'm like, look, all our command staff took a step forward overnight. They didn't apply for that position. They were just, hey, I need you tomorrow to
To be this.
yes, and so they're catching up, they're finishing up their duties that they had lingering, and then took on the next step. So I'm like, we gotta slow this down for them. So these guys are over here, utilize them, which is our lieutenants. The lieutenants and the captain have to basically step up to the point where, hold on, let's talk about this. And calm down, let's take a walk, or counsel them, or whatever, or hear them out. Because that's basically what maybe one of the chiefs would have done. But yet we took away an hour of the chief's time for them to just say, hey, let's take a walk. And they calm down, or whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
Do you feel this could be like a standard procedure to where you guys get a new chief that comes in and say, you know what, no, we're not doing it this way? Will you be like, well, yes, we are?
If a new chief comes in and says, no, it's my way or the highway, we don't get the right one. We don't get the right one.
35 right road.
Yeah, we don't have the right, because when that comes out, it's going to be like, look, this is what we got working for us, this is what we're doing to move forward. And it would very well explain that he answers the board, and the board has already set forth these criterias that we want to see, in action. So it's basically what we're going to do is like, we're handing you the keys to the car, please drive straight. And this is how we need you to get from point A to point B. There's no reinvention of the wheel, we simply adopting it. Just keep it rolling.
That's what I wanted.
Absolutely.
He doesn't have he or she will not have full room at all, or make total drastic decisions of policies.
It's great.
Right. It's been that way forever in the fire department, so yes, it's good to see
Board's
that
got
change.
control.
Yes.
Is this something y'all are?
We do have control of the departments, as much as we can without mingling into it, and then we stop ourselves and, like, oh, we gotta go over there.
Well, we understand. I think you can't be in hands on everything. You trust, you hire the right people. You've got a chief, you've got an assistant, and all the powers to be below them that handle the day-to-day operations. But if y'all are putting in policies and setting things in place so that way everybody can be successful, but they also have a process or a way to, if they feel that this is right or wrong and there's unjust, or somebody they can talk to, you have that. Sounds like you have that now.
Yes. Well, it's easier for us once we're finally hit the finish line.
Yes.
Our bylaws and everything else up to date, because we're so far behind.
Yep.
That we're catching up with the times now,
Absolutely.
present day, but yet our present day is still going to be behind because we've already moved on. But at least if we do have to go before in a hearing or anything like that with somebody, like, we're going to be very well versed of saying, look, we wrote those policies.
Right.
We put it out there. Your signature is on a piece of paper because we're having all our members sign our bylaws and everything, that these are the rules of the House and our organization. So if you chose to break those rules, we can't support you because we put these rules there before you for the benefit of everyone, not just one person. You know?
That's what I was wondering. So y'all are writing these into your policy, into your bylaws? Or do you have like a playbook or a policies and procedures manual or something that you could have more of a living document or whatever?
So we have our bylaws, and then there, we have also, which is also being revamped, is our standard operating procedures. Our
So it's gonna be
SOPs and our
both.
SOGs. So those are the in-house ones of how, and those are coming together by our line officers of how they want things ran day in, day out for every firefighter up to the assistant chief stuff. But when they write those, they go off our bylaws. So they can't like reinvent the wheel. They can't say, well, we can't have a bylaw saying you can't do this, and on our SOPs, well, you can if you do this. No, there's no loophole on it. It is strictly, when we set the bylaws, from there, they stem off of that to make their SOPs and SOGs in-house.
Got it.
And that is by the line officers putting it together.
I like it.
Yeah, it sounds like that committee is going to be very beneficial for you. It's almost like an HR. It's
Yes.
those ones where you can,
Personnel or HR, yeah.
Well, Sophia's HR too.
She's HR too.
she's HR, okay.
And payroll
That's
and
the other hat. Do you set
benefits
separate chairs?
coordinator.
No,
Just the
no,
one
it's just my
chair.
orange one. Yep, it's my power chair.
Very good.
Sounds like y'all are moving in the right direction. That's good. Anything else?
We have Agent 8120 update next.
I'd be glad to provide you an update, and I have good news. We're well under the $15,000 estimate.
Great.
We're still waiting, had to get some Hell Torrent rebuild valves for the pump and some other fittings that were in there. But while it's in there, I had them also go ahead and do a PM on it, which our fire department is going to pay for. Y'all were authorized for the pump disaster and failure from the pump and the water leaks. And so we're right now at about 7,000 and probably 2,500, maybe 3, depending on the pump test would actually be coming from the ESD, and the rest of it would be coming out of our budget for the PM for it. That's routine maintenance, which y'all give us money for. So we want to spend that money for it.
Good.
So, but yeah, so I just got an update from Ms. Janae at Safe Industries, and they're just waiting for the help torrent part to come in. PM's all done. We just had some minor things that were wrong with it, like sirens not working, lights not working, windshield wipers, fluids, you know. But I'm like, while it's in there, just do the whole PM on it. We still had a siren on it. It's a cube.
All right.
Which was really loud. Yes. You couldn't hear it.
Camera on the side.
Yeah.
But while it was in there, I just told him to go ahead and do
Smart.
an PM on it.
Absolutely.
So,
Anything pop up that they say, oh, yeah, hey, this is kind of,
they found some loose fittings that were not properly insulated and terminated, because anything on a fire apparatus, once the electrical connection's made, it should be sealed. And some of them weren't sealed. But that's about, and some other couplers, but nothing huge. I mean, when we start talking about the oils, you're looking at, 5 gallons of transmission fluid, 5 gallons of oil, so this is not your normal 6 quarts. And
Yeah.
and a filter, there's multiple inline fuel filters and water separators, and I'm like, just give me a bumper to bumper, PM, grease, lube, filters, fluids, everything, so when it comes back,
it should be tip-top.
it should be, yeah.
How long does it look like it'll take?
Hopefully we'll get it back next week.
Great.
And there again, we're waiting on one part. But
great.
without that part, I can't pump.
No.
And without that part, they can't do the pump test.
No.
Although we just had the pump test done, anytime you rebuild a portion of the pump, it has to be vacuum tested and pump tested again. So we will be incurring that cost, but yeah. So I thought that was some good news going
Yes.
forward.
That's great.
So, yeah, so I wanted to share that with you. So that's the update
Good.
on our engine 8120.
Excellent.
Anything else?
I included other in case you all had anything else.
I have a question.
Another two.
I have, I was reading through y'all's minutes from what we got today. I saw under Assistant Chief, you have a comment in there about given 60 days to get Class B driver's license or testing. I'm just kind of curious about what's going on there.
Yeah, and what has happened is, since I've been here, Class Bs have been suggested, requested, but not followed to. And according to NFPA, you can respond lights and sirens without a Class B, but you're not supposed to drive it back. And during our grass fires that we had the other day, I found out that we had some firefighters here that weren't comfortable driving heavy equipment. And so we're going to start building the Class B into our fire program. So prior to them getting their firefighter 1, they're going to have a Class B, because you need to have a Class B to operate anything over 26,000 pounds. And for 5 years, it has just not been
Enforced?
And it came to a breaking point last week when I had firefighters tell me I'm not comfortable driving it, and they've been here 6 months. I'm like, what's the problem? And so what we've designed is to have an EVOC course administered, and then set up a training portion for our firefighters in the school parking lot over there. Slalom courses, backup, turning radius, make them as familiar as we can. We can't get them out on the road and let them road test it legally without a Class B.
Right.
So that was, I'm like, it's a 25 question exam. You set it up, you take the exam, you establish your driving test, and then it's done. But we've just had people here for 3-4 years that have been like, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it. And I'm like, after last week, I needed to up the ante a little bit. And I think 60 days, if you're gonna, whether you're gonna do this for the rest of your career or not, if you get it in our fire academy going forward, or if you just get it so that you can respond. The worst thing that could happen is we have somebody out there driving without a Class B and not exercising due regard.
Yeah.
And having them licensed by the DMV to operate a vehicle over 26,000 pounds protects our department.
Absolutely.
And I just felt that I needed to up the ante and put emphasis on it.
So is this for the volunteers, or this are for both volunteers and paid?
And paid.
And paid?
Anybody
Yes, sir.
driving?
What's
Said
that?
anybody driving this?
Anybody driving an emergency apparatus.
So is there special requirements for the fire department? You don't have to go through any training as far as,
I just put my application in today and tested, missed it by 1 point. There's a list of what vehicles you're wanting to operate.
Right.
There's one section, emergency response vehicles, fire apparatus for emergency operations.
so it's not the normal, it's a Class B, but there are special requirements based off of, it's
Class
a
B,
fire,
is
for a
it?
fire department?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay,
And then we would set up an EVOC course, an emergency vehicle operations course.
yeah,
But really, you're dealing with weight. The Class B exempts you from height, weight, and length restrictions. And there's a big difference from driving, your F-250 pickup and a 46,000 engine, a 46,000 pound engine.
right.
Turning radiuses, especially with some of our heavy brush trucks, they're slow to get up and go, and they're even slower to low down. Some of them are top heavy, so we talked about turning radiuses, braking distances. But yeah, that was me.
Good.
I just felt that we're just making ourselves,
Well, it's a safety thing too.
yeah, yes, sir.
100%.
And it needs to be enforced. I mean,
Great.
we've always just said, yeah, you can drive it to an emergency, we can exempt you, but I don't want to continue that path. I think it protects our community, protects our department, protects our board, makes our firefighters better, and it's another cert in their, in their book.
Usually when your people
Absolutely.
ask for training, it's something that they need.
That's right. I think it's a great call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, 100%. Great call. Thank
You may
you.
check with the VFIS, I think that's y'all's insurance, right?
Yes, sir.
Remember, back in the day, they would have somebody that would come down and help set up the course and actually give you the course or, lay out the course with you.
Yes,
And
sir.
then actually grade everybody with y'all just for the insurance side of
I
it.
know when I took my EVOC course, it was put on by TEEX, the
Yeah.
Texas A&M Extension Services, and we have an EVOC instructor and firefighter, Jarrett Ferris. So there again, we're just thinking about ways that we can improve and protect ourselves as well as make our fire department and firefighters better.
Great.
You have one of those hats too?
Just
or-
FYI.
I mean, I could do
You might want to
forklift.
coordinate this with the ESD4, because at their meeting last week, they're in the process of setting up their own EVOC training for their ambulance drivers. They're borrowing a bunch of equipment out of Wilson County to set up a course on a local parking lot. They had a couple of dings and dents in their ambulances, and now they're training their drivers.
Well, yes, sir, I'm aware of Chief Miller's predicament over there, but I mean, I will consult him, but ours are a little larger than ambulances. So
Oh, it might be a different course.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, I would assume it would be.
You can ding an ambulance, right?
What's that?
You can ding an ambulance with one of y'all's.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it exempts you from height, weight,
Right.
and length restrictions and
Yeah.
versus, not
I'll
that
tell you
ambulance
what.
isn't different than a
No.
normal passenger car.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy for an organization to say, we've got all this stuff going on right now, all that stuff going on right now, and, potentially, oh, this would be one more thing, and we'd be taking it on, and we don't have to yet, but I appreciate that you are taking it on.
Absolutely. I think it's a great fit.
Equipment.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Take
top
all the
secret.
equipment. Also, somebody driving it that knows how to drive it. And
Public
somebody
safety.
driving it doesn't know how to drive it.
Well, I would feel better knowing somebody else driving it if they're on the road next to me.
Well, and if you think about it, you can drive it out to an emergency when your adrenaline
Yeah.
is pumping and all
Right.
that stuff.
Well,
Well, that was just, I was kind of skimming through it and I saw, I was like, well, that's interesting. That kind of makes me a little more curious about it.
yes, sir,
So
that's
why.
That was
Great
my call.
question.
that's a great one.
Yeah.
Supported 100%.
And
Thank y'all.
others still, another question I have, how many members do y'all have right now, paid and volunteer? Do y'all know that offhand, just approximately?
I think y'all shared that with us last meeting.
We have 6 spots. We're currently in the process of, we had 2 that left us, so that leaves us 4 right now. But we're currently in the process of filling the 2 paid spots. We do have them filled with other volunteers that are qualified enough on their certification to be able to step in and then go from there. So some of those that are filling in are becoming perfect
But
candidates.
for normal, it would be how many paid slots?
Normal,
6.
6.
And
6 on the fire.
6 on the firefighter side. And then how about on the volunteers? Where do y'all stand on the volunteers?
Right now, we are currently sitting at 20, what was our latest?
It's just,
There's a difference between what's on the roster and what's active.
right,
Yes.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are not on the roster, we're just there.
Well, everybody's on our roster.
Everybody's on the
That
roster.
includes our auxiliary, our juniors, everybody that's technically a member is on the
But
roster.
you can't count those volunteers for the ones that are actually showing,
Yeah.
or
The
responding.
responding volunteers.
How many, yeah, that's,
We have,
Say ballpark 15, 20.
15 or 20, somewhere in
Yeah.
there. Well, my question on that is, I want to see how improving the fire department, I'm thinking that we may see a lot more people thinking, wow, they're a lot more professional, and I want to volunteer to help. I'm just going to kind of see where we stand as it goes, to see if we're gaining something else from correcting a lot of things that we can say, okay, now look, a lot of people want to join because things are in line and we're trying to move forward and they can see that. So,
you know, it's funny you say that because I was speaking with a firefighter earlier, and he flat out told me, he goes, I like being here for the simple fact that it's structure here. We have structure. Not everybody's just showing up and taking off. And I was like, well, we try to. We try. And we're trying to keep that structure and that standard set.
what has the number been? I mean, I know we've had a lot of changes and turnovers, but what's a good round number that we've had on average that would be just on the volunteer base, the responding volunteers? Would you say, ball,
In the
a
last 3
guess?
years?
Active
No.
responders or on our roster?
Active.
Active.
I'd go 10 to 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there may be 20, and that's what I just asked. I can get you an exact number tomorrow.
Okay.
From our roster. But we have a lot of people that initially sign and fill out the application. And then they get the t-shirt and they show up for a little while.
And then they're,
And then they fall off. I will generally call them at least twice when they drop off the application. If I haven't seen them or heard from them, I'll leave them a voicemail. I'll attempt to reach out to them, but then after that, I give Sophia back the application and I stop right there.
hopefully with the committee that y'all put together is going to help
Yes.
bring some of those numbers back.
Yes, and that's what we're gonna hopefully see. I mean, if we call 10 people and one person comes back to try it again, I'm happy with that ratio. A 1 to 10 ratio of them coming back and giving them another try. At least we can honestly say we gave all our effort to help somebody out on that.
To
Yeah.
invite
I've
them
heard a
back, yeah.
handful that
Absolutely.
have asked me about the changes that are being made, and they said they'd consider coming back.
Really? That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And I can say that this now versus the way it's been in the past. Right now, currently, we require all of our firefighters to be certified through Fire One before they start responding. So that in the past was not adhered to, but now we run the fire academies here. So there's no reason that people aren't trained,
Sure.
certified, qualified, equipped to run. We probably don't push as many through the pipeline as fast, but the ones that get through are quality versus quantity.
Right, right.
And I would much rather have.
I agree.
That.
100%.
That's awesome.
And that also too, there's a downside. And I'll be very honest with you. There is a downside because when we do set those standards and we said, look, we need you to be certified, we need you to take a little bit of time to get you running. Some people think that they just need to show up, grab a shirt, hit a couple of hose pulls back there, and they're gonna be ready to go fight a blazing house fire.
Yeah.
It's not the case because we tell them and we advise them, we're like, no, you're not qualified enough yet. It's for your own safety and for everybody else's safety around you. And some people don't like hearing that, unfortunately. And it's kind of like, we're doing this, it's not personal. There's nothing
Yeah.
personal. We're doing this for the community, first of all. We're supposed to show up and somewhat provide a professional attack. So if you don't know how to attack a fire properly, we're gonna lose the house, very quickly. And so they grasp that, but then they're like, but then they realize they gotta put in work.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you know what?
But then again, that's where you weed them out. You weed out the
Yes, sir.
not serious ones.
Well, and we saw that your training hours were modified a few months ago.
Yes.
But they were by no means stricken.
No, so our training hours were modified approximately 3 months ago, down to 8 hours. So we could give the volunteers a little bit of breathing room. Because my feedback that I was getting was like, it's too much, I can't make this. I can't hold a full-time job doing shifts or whatever it may be and still be able to make those hours, And then they would explain to me, okay, look, I have to give you hours. I definitely have to do my job, plus sometimes. Where do I see my family? And I'm like, I get you, I understand that, And then when our board met, and that was a subject that was brought up.
It's not forever. It's a short time. Once you
Yes.
get certified, you're good.
Yes.
No, I think it is
Well, no, this
ongoing.
for the hours.
Yes.
Oh, for the hours, yeah.
Because at that point, we had mandated hours that you must
Okay,
meet.
that's your time.
But when they come on, they're doing that 8 hours until they get certified, and then they're going to keep doing that 8 hours. You're not expecting them to give you 24 hours for the first however.
Exactly.
Right.
So we brought it back down so they get a little bit of breathing room and then hopefully entice more people to come in. Like, okay, it's not as so many hours that I gotta put in over there because, you know, some of them are like, well, it's like having 2 full-time jobs, which I can't see my family. And, you know, to me, it was like, okay, family's always first. And when we met, we're like, let's bring it down a little bit, let's meet them halfway. So they can have time with the family, still be able to provide services for the community, and still be able to make a living for their family.
Are you seeing other firehouses having that requirement, if you will, or setting that standard of having to have that before they,
For
the
firefighter
one, yes, sir.
But
Yes,
we
sir.
require, I can't speak for other firehouses. I know that we put out a trained firefighter that I can employ safely, efficiently, and
No.
effectively on fire scene.
So on that one, is we can train them here, we can get them certified, we can get them SFMA certified here. They can go through our academy, which is still credentialed. But yet, if they go to Pleasanton as a full-time firefighter, they have to go into their academy and do everything all over again. So it becomes, and most departments are doing that, and they've been doing that for a while. They don't just take a general academy and then you can get shot out everywhere. You know, now it's like the organizations are putting on their academy for their possible people. And then from there they weed out, because every time you go into an academy, it's like having an interview process. Because every day they're watching you, every day the instructors, they're going to have to give a report at the end of the day. And if they have 10 people and they're looking to hire 5, unfortunately 5 of them will not make it, or 4 of them might only make the cut. So the rest of the guys have to go out and look at other departments. So when they do get past that process, they have to go back into another academy for them to go into their academy, get taught all over again.
Good.
If I could just follow up.
Yeah.
When our firefighters complete the fire academy, it's awareness ops, fire 1, fire 2, they're eligible to test for the state Fire and Fire Marshals Association, as well as Texas Commission on Fire Prevention. So those are the certifications that they can achieve at the completion, successful completion of our academy.
And
They can
this has
start working
become a
with you
testing site.
after 1. I love that.
We do have every quarter, SFMA, we have it scheduled to the point where this becomes a testing site for our members, where they can test instead of having to go to Austin to take a test over there.
Good.
Sounds good. Anything else for them? Okay, moving on to old business. We have the ISO report and consultant update. Todd's got all that information, I guess.
I imagine it's just in their hands because we've already signed the contract. And he said that he would be getting information as he needed it.
Is that going through y'all or through us?
I can let you know what I know, sir. We've been contacted by ISO Slayer, owns the company, Mr. David Dowdy. And he sent me a thumb drive with all the ISO requirements of it. And then we made contact with Mr. Morash. He's our regional vice president for community hazard mitigation. And we've requested the following information from him. And it's all going to be with a fire service application, GIS for all of our buildings, names of the buildings, height of the buildings, fire flow ratings per all buildings, as well as our previous ISO rating and classification details. And during my meeting with Mr. Jordan today, I was expressing my concerns because in accordance with our ISO, we can only, as a fire department, we can only obtain 50 points out of a possible 100. 40 points comes from the water system and supply, and 10 from our dispatch. And with all of the $9.9 million that they approved in the bond for the water improvements, that's going to impact it. So we have made progress in going forward with that, but that's going to be a huge undertaking.
He said it was going to take a while.
It's good, yes.
Take some time.
So is this something that you guys would want to have stay on the agenda, just a quick report? But now that information's flowing, maybe we don't need to have it on here. I don't know.
Right, as long as it's
Probably
moving
don't
forward.
need it on there. Maybe every 2 or 3 months or something.
Yeah, we'll check again.
Y'all let me know when you want to put back on. I'm gonna go and take it off for the next one.
And they're requesting binders for everything.
Of course.
A binder for each of our apparatus with pictures and flow tests. So with the, we've kind of limped in, but yeah, it's going to be full-fledged. So it's going to be a lot.
It's off the ground.
Yeah. It's taking wings. I'm just not sure if it's
On its own anyway. Okay.
Yeah, he said it'd take months to get it
Yes,
started.
ma'am. It's going to be a big undertaking.
Okay, so
Although he
next,
said he was working with one person that they were on 3 or 4 years because he hadn't been able to get the information from them yet.
I mean, and when you're counting on outside agencies, it's like the water department, I need to know what size water main is underneath each street and the route that it runs.
Oh, wow.
And Devine is,
They probably don't know.
dirt road to the next year.
They're like, let us go check.
perhaps the newer stuff,
I guess somewhere that,
but when I was talking to Simon and Mr. Jordan today, I just kind of gave them kind of a shot across the bow that this is what's coming your way.
Yeah.
So, and they just kind of nodded, and I was like, okay, well, it's coming.
We'll
So
see it when we see it.
it's a shot across the bow, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I mean, if it's information that can't be obtained because the water pipes were put in before they started
Yeah.
GIS, I mean, that's just gonna impact our rating, and it's out of our control.
Yeah.
But as far as fire department, fire apparatus, I think we're in good shape.
Okay. The next thing is website update. I talked to, her name's Rachel, at the organization that we're setting up on our website. She loves Abby. And she said that, come to find out, she's actually the one that did the design for ESD 3 and ESD 5, which is Hondo EMS and Natalia Fire Department. And I said, we'll just probably go along with something similar to that. So she's gonna send us a template next week or so, I think, and we can sit down with a template and come up with whatever we wanna add, subtract, or whatever we wanna do with it. And then she said, once we have the template, she'll get with Abby and they'll get it all taken care of and resolved. And so I hope by next month, we should have a complete website up and running, I think.
And the amount has been approved already. We haven't gotten the invoice for it. It was supposed to possibly today.
She was
so-
going to go check with her accounting, well, she said that she had to go to their web design and see where they stood, and then she was gonna go over to accounting and try to get an invoice out today.
So we'll be able to issue the check even though we haven't met yet, because it's already been approved.
And she didn't seem to be concerned about the check. She goes, you kind of want to hold off on the check because it doesn't start till they get the check. So our 1 year period,
Doesn't
she
start-
said if we do all this extra in front, then it won't start till we get the check in. So it'll be better if we kind of drag our feet, but just make sure we have all of our stuff turned into her and get the
Great.
website up and running.
Good for us to pay for something once we received it too.
The next thing, the financial audit for the Devine Fire Department update. I guess Todd's got most of that information.
I don't think anybody has any information on the
Okay,
check.
well, so
I
we're still,
think
Table?
Sophia's been trying to talk to Xavier, and, I imagine they're starting to work on it, but I don't know.
I would table it.
We haven't had
She-
any response.
Says she's been trying to talk
Yes,
to
yes,
you.
ma'am.
She recommended I give him a call.
So-
More often than email.
Two auditors.
we can just table that and bring it back up next, in just a month. We will talk about that until we start moving forward. The floor buffer update.
Ta-da!
You requested,
All I can say is I tripped over it Sunday when I was
it is,
And we have the bill for it, so
No.
that will be added to our list of
It
items.
looks good with you.
Okay.
claimfreak.com, 1.5 horsepower.
here. The only thing I can say is Sunday when I was here to look, check on before that was in the shower, I didn't know it was in the hallway and I was talking to somebody in the back right over the top of it.
Oh, we should have put out the.
It's on the
That
camera,
was
it's on the
the-
camera. so-
that's on the, what day was this?
But yes, I did get to meet the floor buffer.
It became a floor hazard
That's right.
4,000.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have that, the two different kind of pads. I talked with Mr. Roy Hernandez today about coming out and setting up a training session for us.
Here is a certification, I'm sure.
And he agreed to do that.
For the floor buffer?
Buffer
Yeah,
one, sir.
for 101.
I'm like, sure. I've been in the boys in the Army, but this is maybe special, but thank you, Cal.
They gave us the invoice for it, they paid for it. Right. With
And we're
everything, and it's
reimbursed.
$1533.73, so we'll be adding that to our list of bills.
1533.73.
Yes.
You did such a great job.
Okay.
Thank you.
On the homestead and over 65 or disabled exemptions update, Todd has some of that.
I can tell you.
Do you have that? Or-
We did.
Almost everybody else has been doing things.
We had our minutes certified after last meeting. And so I emailed a copy of those certified minutes over to the
Medina County Appraisal District.
Medina County
Johnette
Appraisal.
Johnette Dixon.
Oh, yes. And then we also had, we had them confirm receipt. And so I documented their receipt confirmation. It was via phone, but I also sent an email to let everybody know that it had been received, including them. So we should be all set on that. So-
Great.
We'll see it when they start figuring how much money we're gonna get in July.
Okay. The firehouse shower tile update, we just went and looked at it. Before, I talked to him on Friday and also talked to him yesterday and then today. I didn't know what it looked like until tonight, but I was here Sunday and it was just the hardy plank had been put on it and he said he was gonna tile it. His schedule was to put the handrails on it tomorrow